This video is sponsored by Car Vertical. Don't forget to use my promo code Highpeak for 20% off each and every check that you do. Hello and welcome back to more Highpeak. Now, I don't know about you, but I love the idea of a road trip. I've done many of these in my life and I just think they're great fun. You see, I love the idea of taking a cheap car somewhere it probably shouldn't go. You know, most people use the cars to go to work or go to the shops. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about proper epic road trips. Over the last 10 or 12 years, I've done probably 50 of these trips, but in today's video, I've chosen my favourite 4. The cars featured in today's video are all very different, and the trips themselves are very different too. It ranges from a £250 Fiat Panda, all the way up to a 300,000 mile Volvo XC70. In these following trips you're about to see, we battle the scorching heat of southern Spain, we battle the Arctic conditions of Switzerland, and we even tackle some mad Parisian driving. By the way, if you're considering going on a road trip and you've never done it before, then just go for it. It's not as hard as you might think. A lot of these trips I shouldn't admit this, but I planned like the day before. I didn't have any European breakdown, I didn't know whether I'd make it there, but that's part of the fun. So today we're taking a trip down memory lane and I'll let you know where some of these cars ended up. Let's get started. Right, the first one then is my 300,000 mile Volvo XC70. Now I bought this car about 2 days before Christmas a few years ago and I paid a few £100s for it. It was a 2004 XC70 with a D5 engine, but it had done 297,000 miles and I just couldn't believe it. When I bought it, knowing it was four-wheel drive, I thought, I've got to take this on an epic trip. You know, most people would have taken one look at the odometer and just scrapped that car, but that's not me. I love to save things. I also thought if it did die on me on this trip, then at least it's going out with a bang. It's kind of falling on its sword, isn't it? One last hurrah. Me and my pal John, who you've seen in many other videos on this channel, decided to take it to the highest town in Europe. We decided to take it to a town called Davos in Switzerland. Now, interestingly, Davos is where they have all these climate talks where they try and force everyone into EVs. So I thought it was kind of fitting to take a 300,000 mile diesel Volvo there, because I was trying to prove that it's actually better for the environment to keep running your old car rather than scrap it and buy a brand new one. Anyway, enough talking, here's what happened. Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, you might be quite familiar with the car sitting behind me. It's my 2004 Volvo XC70 that I bought a few months ago for just £750. I've since spent thousands on it, but let's not dwell on that. If you watched the first video I did with this, you'll know that it's done 294,000 miles, and I'd quite like to get it to the big 3-0. Oh. And you know what that means, don't you? It's road trip time. Now, because this is the XC, the cross-country, the all-wheel drive version, it's quite capable off-road. It was designed for harsh Scandinavian winters, and I've since fitted it with some Michelin cross-climate tyres, so it should be able to cope with anything. So my plan was to take it to the highest town in Europe. Nope, not Amsterdam, Davos. Davos is an alpine resort town in Switzerland. It sits 1,560 metres above sea level, so it'll be the perfect test for the old Volvo. I want to see how this performs in the Swiss Alps, and I've checked the weather forecast and it's going to be -12 there this weekend, so I'll be quite grateful of those heated seats. I am quite prepared on this occasion. I'm not usually very organised, but on this occasion I have tried. So have a look what I've got in the boots. I've got all the ingredients for a road trip. We have got 2 triangles, 2 high visibility jackets, a UK sticker, and what else? Oh yeah, the all important headlamp things. These little stickers go on your headlamps to change the direction of your lights so you don't blind oncoming traffic, because of course we drive on the correct side of the road here in the UK, and those foreigners in Europe do not. There is one little thing that I need to do. You all thought I was going to throw that on the floor, didn't you? Let's try and get this level, shall we? No air bubbles, there we go. Look at that. Perfect. Right, well, I'm going to go home and get packed, and I'll see you in Folkestone. Cheers, guys. Morning guys, right, well we're down in Folkestone at the Eurotunnel terminal. I've just got here now. I was hoping to get on an earlier train, but no such luck. So I've got about an hour and a half to wait. I set off this morning about 4:30 and I've done, let me tell you, 287 miles. And so far, it's been really good on fuel. I've averaged, turn that off. I've averaged 47.1 miles per gallon, which isn't bad for a 300,000 mile old car like this, is it? I just topped at the tank at Maidstone station. It took about 26 litres, so quite good on fuel really. When I get off the train at the other side and get to France, I've got about 5.5 hours to the hotel. I've already booked the hotel. It is a Ibis again. I don't think it's an Ibis Styles. I think it's an Ibis Budget. I think all the styles in the area were fully booked. But it's in a place called, now forgive me here because I might be getting this wrong. I think it's, well, it's written Nancy, but I don't know how you pronounce it. I should be quite grateful that I'm heading to Nancy and not heading out west to a place called Nantes. Any minute now I'm expecting to see an old clapped out 1 Series. At Maidstone station there was a right-hand drive on Romanian plates 1 Series that sounded terrible. I think it overheated. It was all being pushed into the station by 5 lads. I'm half expecting to see them pushing it along now like some sort of bobsleigh. But so far the car has been, I don't want to jinx this now, but it's been spot on. There's been no warning lights, no judders, no flutters. It has just been, well, like a modern car really. I filled up the car yesterday in Stockport before I left, and it was empty to be fair, but it took £102, but that was V-Power, Shell V-Power diesel. I think the £102 bought me about 60 litres. I expected to have a bigger tank than that, but it says on the range anyway, that I've got something like 975 miles from a tank. So quite impressive, quite a good Grand Tourer. Very noisy seagulls here. It makes you wonder really, doesn't it? Considering this is 20 years old and done nearly 300,000 miles, I don't think it's lost any of its fuel efficiency. You'd have thought it would have done, wouldn't you? But I don't think it has. Doing this kind of run, crossing continents, I think is what this car was built to do. And so far, it's proved to be a bit of a trooper. I picked up my pal this morning at about 4:30 and he's just inside the terminal and he's a bit camera shy, so he doesn't want to feature. But it has been a lot better having some company. Last time I did this in the Panda, I was just on my own. Although one thing I'm quite disappointed about, I brought all these CDs with me. I've collected these over the years from various part exchanges, and I've got some belters. I was looking forward to listening to them. I've got, for example, 80s anthems, Lionel Richie, Truly the Love Songs, Blondie, but my CD player doesn't work. Gutted. So now all I've got here really is a load of rearview mirror decorations. Unfortunately, it does still have a whiff about it. I sprayed it, I doused it last night in Febreze, and I found this new air freshener, so I put that in it, hoping that it would smell a little bit fresher. And it hasn't really worked. I'm hoping, some more hours spent in it, it should be okay. I crossed the QE2 bridge this morning and I've already paid my dart charge. I forgot to do that in the Panda and I got a £70 fine or whatever it was. So I've remembered to do that this time. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I shall see you a little bit later on. After looking around the duty-free, I realised I didn't need a giant Toblerone or a teddy bear dressed as a beefeater, so I decided to board instead. Well, we're on the Eurotunnel now, and it is quite rocky, actually. Don't remember it being this rocky, usually. My mate got me paranoid about the lack of cam belt history on this car, so I've just called the garage and crew, who were the last people to service the car back at 220,000 miles. And he was really helpful. So he called me back maybe 20 minutes later, and he said, I've got pages and pages and pages of extra history for this car. So I've printed it off for you, so next time you pass it, just call in and pick it up. So I said, do you know if it's ever had its cam belt done? And he was busy, the phone was ringing in the background, I didn't want to bother him too much. But he said, yeah, we did a cam belt on it. So I thought, right, well, that's good enough for me then. Before we get to France, I just want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Car Vertical. If you're looking to buy a used car or motorcycle, it's crucial that you check out its history. Let me show you how it works. So, let's take the old Volvo. Foxtrot Hotel 54 Yankee Foxtrot Alpha. You just type in its reg and then check vehicle. You might think this is expensive to check the history on a used car, but wait until you buy a car without checking its history first and it turns out to be a lemon. Then you'll know what expensive is. And also, if you use the promo code Highpeak, you'll get 10% off. I'll leave the link below in the video description, but if you pop in the promo code Highpeak, you won't forget that, you will get 10% off. And here's the report for my old Volvo. So there's no evidence of any mileage fraud, it's never been stolen, never been involved in any recorded accidents, and there's no outstanding finance, so we're all clear on all 4 fronts. In addition to that, you've got all the previous MOT history, but in addition to that, it tells you how many owners it's had, and when the ownership changed. It's had quite a lot of advisory items, this old girl. Doesn't have any at the moment though, because I spent lots and lots of money on it. There you go. Passed with no advisory items. It's also telling me that it's never been used as a driving school car, police car, public transport, rental car, taxi, all that sort of stuff. What's good about Car Vertical is that it isn't just a UK thing, it checks millions of cars in dozens of countries, so it is very thorough. As you can see here, the mileage is fairly consistent, consistently high. There's no damage report in all those countries. Let's go down to the spec. Okay, we know that it's an all-wheel drive manual. Oh, this is handy. It's a checklist of common issues. So when you go to look at a used car, you just got a bit of a heads up. So there we are. Thank you to Car Vertical for sponsoring another video. Let's get to France. Get to France. Now, as you can see, when we get to France, we've got almost 6 hours of driving. 5 hours, 40 minutes. Bear in mind, I've already driven for 5 hours this morning. We'll be taking the A26. I've got my little toll road bipper thing with me, so that's not a problem. We will be going around, I'm not even going to pronounce that, and then heading over to, I really don't think the French pronounce it Nancy. Anyway, Nancy. Nancy? No, can't say it. I think actually, there we go. I'm staying somewhere around here in a place called don't know. Laxu? Don't know.
Right guys, quick update for you. We're about 20 minutes from the hotel in the outskirts of Nancy. I know I'm butchering that pronunciation, but I don't know how you say it. I've been driving now for about 4 days. I'm bored of it. But the car hasn't put a foot wrong. It's been absolutely, I hate to say this because I'll jinx it, but it's been absolutely faultless. The plan for tonight then, once I've checked in, is maybe have a quick shower, change, and then head into Nancy because I'm starving. I fancy a Chinese really, maybe a few beers. So that's the plan. And then good night's sleep and back at it tomorrow. I can't believe I've not got a single warning light on. My temp gauge is right in the middle, my fuel gauge is right in the middle. I've used another 25 litres or so. But I've been averaging, let me work it out, a little trip computer, 49.2 miles per gallon. So not as impressive as the little Panda, but impressive for a 300,000 mile Volvo, isn't it? One which weighs as much as this anyway. The weather's taken a bit of a turn for the worse, so this is like being back in Stockport. It was quite nice for a couple of hours, even had my sunglasses on, but now it is very Mancunian. So I think that's about it. I'll catch up with you later on. Cheers, guys.
Right, well, I've just checked into the hotel in Nancy, and it's an Ibis budget, but it's all right, really. I think it was only 58 euros for the night or something, so I can't complain. Let me give you a quick tour. That's it. So you've got a double bed. My pal's in the neighbouring room, actually, and his room is identical but the opposite layout. Shower room here. That's all you need, isn't it? Joking apart, for this sort of money, it really isn't bad. There's my wardrobe, some scaffolding pole, television, little dressing table, and a view there of, what can we see, a Novotel. So yeah, that's about it. I shall see you in the morning. Good night.
Morning guys. Right, well we're back on the road again. I've been on the road for about an hour now. I think we're about 40 minutes from the Swiss border. It's quite a nice day. It's down to about 2 degrees, all Range Rover Sport. That's nice. We went for a Chinese last night in Nancy, Nancy's quite a nice place actually. I'd never, sound quite ignorant now, but I'd never even heard of it. But it's a really nice city. We had a walk through the main square, had a few beers, had quite a nice night really. I didn't sleep very well to be fair, but I've had a nice hot shower, so I do feel quite fresh. I'm quite excited to be in Switzerland for the first time. We're heading now to the outskirts of Zurich, where my pal has found a shooting range. He wants to go and do that. I'm not really that bothered, but I'll try it because I've never done it. So that's where we're heading next. We just stopped at a petrol station for a coffee and a croissant, and usually anywhere in France you can guarantee a pretty good pan au chocolat. But this one I think was about a week old. Does anyone know the French? But I think I need a fill-in. It was like chewing a house brick. Anyway, I shall try and find another one. In other news, the Volvo still stinks. It started on the kilo this morning, which I was quite pleased with. And it's running like a dream. But yeah, it stinks. Need to WD-40 that door and find some Febreze. Well, we've just stopped for a coffee and a fresh croissant, one that wasn't like eating a house brick. And I think I've solved the issue with the bad smell. Right, well, I'm about 30 minutes away from the hotel, and my fuel light has just pinged on, so I'm going to brim the tank. I don't know how much diesel is there. I expect it's expensive like everything. And that should be, I was going to say it should be my last fill up, but I'm not exactly sure. So yeah, see you at the hotel.
Right guys, well I've just checked into the hotel on the outskirts of Davos and let me give you a quick tour. Well, here is the room on the outskirts of Davos. This was £150 a night. It's quite basic but clean. It's about 20 minutes from Davos in a place called Shears. Not the prettiest, but it's alright. It's sort of like going into a hotel room in the 90s, really.
Right, we're on the final ascent to Davos. We're 7 minutes away according to my sat-nav, and the scenery has definitely changed. It is like a winter scene. It's like being in Lapland. Well, I've never been. It's how I imagine Lapland. The original plan was to stay in Davos tonight. I've actually already booked and checked into the hotel. But I was chatting with my pal and he's never been to Italy. And seeing as we're only 2 hours away from Como, I thought we could just keep driving and go check out Lake Como. So that's the new plan.
Spoiler alert, it made it there too.
The old Volvo just hasn't put a foot wrong. I can't quite believe it. For a 19-year-old car that's done 300,000 miles, there hasn't been a warning light, or we've dropped to 0 degrees. There hasn't been a single warning light, a judder, a blip, nothing at all. The whole purpose of this trip was to take this £750 old Volvo from Manchester to the highest town in Europe, Davos, which it's done. It honestly hasn't missed a beat. It's done 300,000 miles and it just keeps plodding on. It kind of proves my theory that with the correct maintenance, any old car should last a very long time, and it's far better for the environment than buying a brand new EV. That's my theory anyway. The most carbon heavy part of a car's life is when it's manufactured, so it's just far better to keep it on the road for as long as you possibly can. That's what I always preach anyway, and I'm a true believer in that. That's my other reason for wanting to go to Davos, because Davos is where all the world's leaders meet every year to talk about climate change. They all fly in on their private jets with their entourage and they discuss how we should all try and lower our carbon footprint, and it's just very hypocritical. That's the second reason I wanted to come to Davos, just to prove a point really, to prove that you can still play a fine tune on an old fiddle. Or something like that.
Well, that was an epic trip, and the last time you saw that car, we were in Davos. In fact, as we drove into the town, a speed camera flashed. I thought it was me, but it was obviously the car in front because, touch wood, I never got a ticket through. After we'd stopped filming, me and my mate had a couple of days to kill, so we continued the journey all the way down to Como in Italy. We spent a night there and then drove all the way back, and the car didn't miss a beat. It was completely perfect. Not only was it really comfortable, but it was also getting great MPG. I really couldn't knock it. Next up then was a road trip to Paris. A very good French friend of mine who lives in America now was in Paris visiting some family. So I thought, well, why not stop by and see her? So that's just what I did. I decided to do it in a very cheap BMW 7 Series that I bought for like £3,000. But the night before, well, I got cold feet. So I decided to change cars. You see, you might think this is a bit clickbaity, but I swear my intentions were honest and true. I did intend to do this journey in the old 730D, but I'd spent a fortune on it. I wasn't completely confident with its reliability, so I thought, you know what, I'm on a bit of a tight time frame. She was only there for a few days. Let me do it in something that I know will get me there and back. So here's what I did instead. Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, I've just got off the phone with a friend of mine who I haven't seen for a few years, and she's in Paris for a few days, so I thought it might be quite nice to go and see her. Now, if I were a normal person, I'd take a plane or a train, but I'm not, so I figured I'd drive there instead. It's been a while since I've been on a road trip, so I thought it might be quite good fun. To add a layer to this, I'm going to see if I can get there and back on a single tank of fuel. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be doing that in this 5-litre supercharged Range Rover because that would be stupid. I doubt this car would get me to London and back on a single tank. No, instead, my car of choice is my BMW 730 diesel, which I bought for just £3,500. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I literally had this idea about an hour ago. There's nothing quite like good planning, is there? So there's quite a number of things to sort out. So, let's get cracking, shall we? Right, well, I've just stopped by Harrods, not the one in London, the one in Marple, the motoring components shop, and I've picked up all my essentials. So I've got a yellow vest, which I think is compulsory, or a gilet jaune, as it's known in France, and I've got some tyre seal, because I think the big old 7 doesn't have a spare. So just want to be prepared. So that's it, that's my packing done. What's that saying again? Prepare to fail. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Seatbelts. Right, I'm going to go to work now and pick up the big 7 and then go and fuel it. So I shall see you there. Okay, so I'm back in the 7 Series. Now, after the last time I filmed with this car, I noticed the air conditioning, which I had recharged, wasn't working. It did initially, but then it started to get warm again. So I ran it back to the BMW specialist and it needed a new condenser. So it's had the condenser fitted and then they've recharged the gas. So now it is ice cold. I've just filled the fuel tank full of diesel. It's got an 80 litre tank this, so it took £140 to fill it full of V-Power. I know I'm rushing around now like a madman, but I think this should be achievable. It's 300 miles to Folkestone, 200 miles from Calais to Paris, and then back again. So 1,000 miles from a full tank should just about be doable. Of course, the car's range is contradicting that slightly because it tells me I've got 437 miles from a full tank, but that's because I'm driving around town. I think as soon as I take it steady on the motorway, it should stretch to, it'll probably start reading 7s and 8s, I hope. Let me just do the maths there. So it's got an 80 litre tank. There are 4.6 litres in an imperial gallon. So that is 17.3 gallons. So it's got a 17.3 gallon tank and I've got to get 1,000 miles. So I need to do about 58 miles per gallon to be able to get 1,000 miles or so from it. It should just be about doable. I've just set my alarm for tomorrow morning for 4 AM, which I'm not looking forward to, but I figured a quick shower, get changed, brush my teeth, all that sort of stuff, and I'll be able to leave the house around about 4:30, I hope. So I should be at Folkestone for about 10, easily. I'm hoping slightly earlier so I can get a slightly earlier crossing. So, right, I will see you tomorrow morning. Sorry guys, I've had a change of plan. I was just laying in my bed then and I was getting all stressed and anxious thinking about this trip. I was thinking I've got to drive slowly enough to eke out as many MPGs as possible, but not so slowly that I miss my train. And I've got to be back in the UK for Saturday because I'm going to City Spurs. I'm filming on Sunday. I've got to go down to London on Monday through Wednesday. I've just got too much to do and I can't risk things going wrong. As I lay there, I was thinking this is supposed to be a fun trip, not one riddled with anxiety and mental arithmetic. That isn't fun at all. Plus I had the worry that this is an unknown car to me. I've only spent a couple of hours in it when I've been out filming. I don't really know it, so I can't fully trust it. So I've had a change of plan. What I'm going to do now is drive to work and leave this car there, the car that I've just put £140 of fuel in, added onto the motor insurance database and taxed. Anyway, you only live once, don't you? So instead what I'm going to do is drive to work and get something out of the garage that's a bit more fun. Might make this trip a little bit more memorable and enjoyable. You might be wondering what that car is, but I guarantee as soon as I start it up, you'll recognise it. The exhaust note is quite recognisable, so I'll see you there. Then I really need to get back in my bed and get some sleep. I'll have to amend the Eurotunnel booking as well and change the reg. Everything is last minute with me all the time. Anyway, right, I shall see you at the garage. Now this is a proper road trip. 730 diesel. I don't know what I was thinking of. I haven't driven this for weeks. It's just been collecting dust in the showroom, so why not stretch its legs? That's what it's there for, isn't it? Oh, first, we need some fuel. I've got a feeling that won't be the only time I say this on this trip. Right, well, I'm all fueled up, so I'm going to go home now and try and get 5 or 6 hours sleep. So I shall see you guys in the morning. Good night. Morning. Quick sit rep for you. I am at Clackett Lane Services. I've just stopped for a bathroom break because I've got the bladder the size of a thimble, and I've got a coffee because I was starting to look like Paul Gascoigne on a Monday morning, or a Tuesday morning for that matter, or a Wednesday morning. That is unbelievable, that. You just don't see these cars at all, and I've just seen another AMG GT. What are the odds? So I made really good time this morning. I left about 20 to 5. And originally, when I was going to come in the 7 Series, I thought I would go down the M1 because although it's slightly longer, it's shorter in miles. But I hate that route, it's really boring. So I decided to come the M6 way. So M6, M42, M40, M25. I hit a little bit of traffic on the M25, as you might expect. But so far, so good. We're now, I'm guessing, I've done this journey many times, I'm guessing we're now an hour and a bit away from the Eurotunnel, maybe an hour and 10 minutes. So it is 10 to 9. My Eurotunnel train thing is booked at 20 past 11, so we've got plenty of time. And so far, I'm really glad that I've chosen this car. I've not driven it for weeks, so I've really loved using it. The weather is atrocious. I left Manchester and it was mild and dry. Then as soon as I head down south, it is just poured down with rain the entire time. I know the purpose of this trip, since I'm now in this car, wasn't exactly an eco run, but I have done, so from start I've done 242 miles this morning. I've averaged 61 miles an hour, which is quite good going really, considering a lot of that was average speed zones at 50. And I've done 28.2 miles per gallon. It's not too bad, is it? It's about half what I was hoping to get from the 7 Series, but for a car like this, it's not bad at all. That coffee is bitter. Should have put sugar in it really. Right, I will continue with my journey then, and I'll catch up with you at the Eurotunnel. So, see you soon. Right, well, we're at the Eurotunnel terminal. In front of me is a 135 convertible. That's a rare car. I've just realised as well, this is the first time I'll be using my new blue British passport. It's exciting, isn't it? I've been in the car now 4 hours and 54 minutes. It always takes about 5 hours, give or take. So, not too bad. 294 miles, 28.8 miles per gallon. I can live with that. I'll stop for some more fuel as well, because I thought at least if I get it in the UK, I can claim my VAT back against my business expenses. And I think it's a couple of pence cheaper than it is in France, so. Oh no. I've come to the wrong side, haven't I? Bugger. Right, well, we're currently somewhere under the English Channel. I've just had a flashback. The last time I did this and videoed it was with that diesel RAV4 that I took down to Spain. That was about 4 years ago, so it's been a while. I have done it since then, I just haven't filmed it. What always amazes me about this is it only takes 35 minutes in the Eurotunnel. For years and years and years, I always did the ferry, the Dover-Calais and Calais-Dover ferry, but it takes like an hour 40. The ferry is half the price, which was the reason I did it, but this is just so much quicker. I'd rather pay the extra 60 quid and get there an hour earlier. When I get to the other side, I should have around a 3-hour drive to Paris, so it's not too bad. I'm starting to feel a little bit tired. I'll probably stop somewhere along the way and get a coffee and a pan au chocolat. But first, I just want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Dapper Dan. Dapper Dan supply men's hair products. My ears have just popped. Now, when they got in touch, I've been using Dapper Dan products for years, so when they got in touch, I was over the moon. I've been using the products now for about a decade, and I genuinely thought it was some big faceless corporation, some huge conglomerate, but that couldn't be further from the truth. It was founded, and it's still run to this day, by two brothers from Sheffield, who were barbers originally, so they know exactly what they're talking about. I use the sea salt spray as soon as I get out of the shower, so I give it a few squirts, then as soon as it's dry, I shake some powder into it, and then style it. And then I add some matte clay. That reminds me, I went to school with a lad called Matt Clay. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Add some matte clay, rub that between my hands, and then style it. It's as easy as that, and it lasts all day, and it smells good. I've liked and used the products for years, but I like them even better now I know they're a local family-run business. If you click the link below in the video description and use the promo code Highpeak01, you'll get 35% off your order, which I think is very generous. It supports them, it supports me, it supports the channel. So thank you very much, I appreciate it. And a big thank you to Dapper Dan for sponsoring today's video. Right, we're nearly there, so I'm going to go and have a quick bathroom break again, and then see you on the other side. Well, that's mad. I've just bumped into my parents. They're on the way back from Spain, and they called me about 20 minutes ago, and we were on the same road, obviously in opposite directions, but it was perfect timing really, because they're about half an hour from the Eurotunnel, so they don't need this anymore. So I've just nabbed it off them, which will make my life much easier. Watch this, as if by magic. No more having to get out of the car and back into the car again like an idiot. I've got about 2 hours now to Paris, and the sun's out, so I can finally enjoy my drive. Shades will be on next. For the last 2 or 3 hours I've just been driving through heavy rain. It really zaps your energy because you've got to really concentrate. I could really do with a coffee to be honest, but I really don't want to stop anymore. I've had too many breaks today, so I think I'll just plough on and try and get one when I get there. So yeah, I'll catch up with you when I'm in Paris. See you there. Alright guys, well I'm here in Paris. I've just checked into the hotel. I chose this hotel because it had parking. Now when you see the parking, I had to park on like the 3rd level below ground. It was the tightest car park I think I've ever been in. That definitely wasn't the car to bring. But anyway, it's parked up for the night. So I'm just going to get a quick shower to try and wake myself up a little bit, and then I'm going to go and see my mate. So yeah, I'll probably catch up with you tomorrow. Cheers guys. Morning guys, how are you doing? I'm currently driving around trying to get a picture of the Eiffel Tower with my car in the background just to prove that I've actually been, and all I've got so far is a headache. I've quickly realised this isn't the ideal car for Paris. People drive like maniacs and it makes me very nervous, and I'm lost, so I'm gonna have to spin around. You might be able to see that. Maybe not. Where am I going now? Jesus. It's like National Lampoon's this, isn't it? Hey look kids, there's Big Ben in the House of Parliament. Can I go up here? It says no entry. But the sign was covered over. I'm not convinced. I rather naively thought that I'd be able to just park somewhere with the Eiffel Tower in the background and get a good shot, but I now realise that that was a stupid idea. My plan is to stop for a quick coffee with my mate and then head back to Calais and get on the Eurotunnel. So, quick, you see what I mean? Nearly clipped my back end there. So yeah, quick trip, but one that's been jam-packed. I was planning to give you a bit of a sightseeing tour, but I'm not really the right person to do that because I've got no sense of direction. I'm not in the right car. So I tried, at least I tried. Trying to follow my sat-nav here. It must have been quite a nice area of Paris because the cars have gone from Renault 5s to Porsche 911s. Oh, this is a nightmare. I don't like driving in city centres at the best of times, but this is just... Oh, English car. English Mini. From London. Parisian gent. Oh, look. Oh, go on, go on. He was just going anyway, so may as well let him go. The architecture around here, though, is, as you would expect, beautiful. Right, this might have been a completely pointless little clip, but I'll catch up with you when I'm on an auto route and I've got more time on my hands. See you then. Right, and we're back in Britain, but even the sun's come out. I had about 2 hours from Paris to Calais of nothing but non-stop heavy rain. It was miserable. But here at least I've got my sunglasses on. After I checked in at the Eurotunnel, I got stopped by British Customs, who told me to drive over to their little garage thing so they could check my car over. I know they're just doing their job, but it's really quite insulting. They bombard you with questions that you can't really answer straight away because they put you on the spot. And they make you feel like a criminal. I know why they're doing it, but still, it's not very pleasant. So I got the whole, where have you been? How long did you stay there for? Who did you meet? Can I see the photos of who you met? No, you can't. Where did you stay? Well, none of your business. Then it was the car. That's a nice car for somebody your age. Yeah, I know, thank you. What does OCF mean on the reg? What's it got to do with you? Then it was, can I have a look in the boot? Yeah, knock yourself out. All you're going to find is a pair of worn boxer shorts and socks and an old banana that I didn't eat. Feel free, be my guest. I just get insulted at the suggestion that if you've got nice things then you must have done something dodgy. What happened to good old-fashioned hard work? Anyway, I'm tired now, as you can probably tell with my grumpy little rant, but it's been a good trip. I enjoyed catching up with my mate. I enjoyed my little sightseeing tour of Paris, but probably most of all, I enjoyed the car. I'm so glad I took this car and not the old 730. Every time you're able to put your foot down, it just never ceases to amaze me. It's brutal. I forgot to tell you, I got a letter through from Mercedes a few weeks ago, and there was a recall on this car, or the AMG GT in general, something to do with the drive shaft. So I took it down to Stockport Mercedes, and they replaced it free of charge. And it is now a completely different car. Before it was really noisy, I think I've mentioned this to you before, but it sounded like it had a bad wheel buried in the back. Anyway, it turned out to be a drive shaft. So now it's still loud, it's still a hardcore sort of stripped out thing, but it's not completely deafening like it once was. I don't think I would have had the patience before to do a road trip like this with that noise, but now it's a pleasure. What I was going to do on this final leg of the journey was work out the costs. The Eurotunnel cost, the fuel cost, the tolls, all that sort of stuff. But things have changed. I've got something more important on my mind, something that I really feel obliged to do. So, boys and girls, we're going to have a quick detour to the capital city. Well, that was my trip to Paris, and that should have just been an ordinary trip, but sadly the Queen passed away while I was there, and it's kind of a moment in history. And I'm almost glad that it happened while I was in Paris, because it's just one of those points in time, isn't it? You know, do you remember where you were when this happened? It's one of those things. And Paris was a really weird place to be when that happened. They lit up the Eiffel Tower in the colours of the Union flag and stuff. It was an eerie place to be, and it made me feel really patriotic. I remember waiting at the Eurotunnel terminal in France watching BBC News, and I was just eager to get back home. I just felt like I needed to be there. It was a really weird feeling, actually. I don't think I've felt like that before or since. So on the way back home, I just felt compelled to swing by Buckingham Palace and pay my respects. So again, it just turned out to be another road trip that will forever live in my memory. Speaking of forever living in my memory, number 3. This was a cheap Fiat Panda that I bought for just £250. My intention was to see if this car would make it from Manchester all the way down to Malaga on the south coast. Now that's a 2,000 kilometre journey, so it was asking an awful lot from a £200 car. It had done 155,000 miles, it was a tiny 1.3 litre turbo diesel, and the engine light was flashing, and it did have a few issues. Anyway, you'll have to watch and see what happened. Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today you join me down in Folkestone at the Eurotunnel terminal, and you might recognise the little car behind me. It's my old Fiat Panda diesel I bought a few months ago. Now, being a car dealer, what I should have done was sold it on the day, made a few £100 profit and just got rid of it. But I quite like it, so I've decided to keep it. In fact, not only have I decided to keep it, today I'm going to take it on a 2,500 kilometre road trip all the way down to southern Spain. Will this £250, 153,000 mile Fiat Panda make it? Will it get me there? Let's find out, shall we? I should explain that I'm not the most organised person in the world and actually had this idea yesterday, so it is a bit last minute. I set off from my house this morning at about 10 to 5 and it's about 300 miles from my door to this terminal. It's roughly a 5-hour trip. You know, I lay there in bed last night thinking, am I doing the right thing? Have I chosen the right car? Because I genuinely don't know if this will get me there. I've only ever used it for short trips around town, so I really don't know what it's like, especially on a run. But I've spent 5 hours in it this morning and it hasn't missed a beat. There have been no warning lights, no error messages. It's only used a quarter of a tank of diesel. I think this will be one of the cheapest trips I've ever done down to Malaga. I've got my little toll road blipper things, so that should save me getting out of the car, because obviously it's a right-hand drive car, not a left. My plan is once I cross the channel and head to France, then I'm going to head to a town called, you might have heard of it actually, Le Mans? Might not be pronouncing that correctly. Le Mans. I'm going to stay there tonight. I've already booked the hotel, so when I get to France I should only have about 4.5 hours until I get to Le Mans. Then the next day I've got about an 8-hour drive until I get to Burgos. Now I've already booked a hotel in Burgos. I've never been there but fancied seeing what it was like. So I booked a hotel there. It kind of splits the journey into 3 8-hour legs, so I thought that was better rather than knocking myself out and doing it all in one go. I've got 14 minutes until boarding begins, so I just want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Car Vertical. Car Vertical provide detailed, in-depth vehicle history reports, and I can't recommend them enough. So don't forget to try it out for yourself. Click the link below in the video description and use the promo code Highpeak for 10% off. Right, I should probably go on board. See you in France. Bonjour mes amis, bienvenue en France. I don't know why I keep saying that, it's not remotely funny, is it? I've just stopped for some diesel because I was down to about half a tank and it only took 20 litres. Need to remember to stay on the right, don't I? Yeah, it only took 20 litres and I've done 331 miles. I'll work out the MPG later when I'm editing and I'll drop that below. I've noticed when you're driving this around town, you can hear, you might be able to hear that actually, I think it's the engine mounts. The little rubber things which the engine sits on, you can hear it when you back off. It sounds like a dog barking in the distance. But on a run, it's fine. I think the Americans call them motor mounts. Motor mounts. I'm about 3.5 hours from Le Mans, and so far everything is all going swimmingly. We want the A16 towards Rouen. It isn't the quickest car in the world, I mean that won't surprise you, it's a 1.3 litre diesel, but it sits happily at about 60-62 miles per hour. Any more than that and you can just feel its resistance. You can also sense its lack of... Oh, we're just joining the motorway now. 4th gear, 55, 60, there we go. You can also sense its lack of weight because with a bit of wind this blows around like a kite in a hurricane. But it really is a surprisingly good car. I haven't got backache like I thought I was going to. The visibility is excellent. There's not too much road noise. It's all alright really. I quite enjoy myself. I'm also quite pleased I've only got 3.5 hours to go until I get to the hotel. Normally I'd try and gun it and just do as many hours as possible, as many miles as possible, but then you're just so drained and shattered the next day, it ruins it. So that instead, slow and steady wins the race. I love going on a road trip. I love the freedom of it. Just put some fuel in and off you go. When I typed in the address on my sat-nav, it warned me that I'm going through Rouen, which is a low emission zone. So no doubt I've got to pay some sort of scammy fee to somebody. In certain cities in France, you need one of those critère stickers, which is just a scam, isn't it? An eco scam, but you've got to toe the line. These are life changer, by the way. Cheers, Harry. Come on. Where are you? Where are you? There we go. Et voila. I think that's about it then, guys. I will catch up with you closer to Le Mans. Alright guys, I just got checked into the hotel. I'm now in Le Mans. Actually, I'm on the outskirts. I'm southwest of Le Mans in a place called Mulsanne, which is also near a place called Arnage. And I didn't realise the Bentley connection before. Perhaps I should have done, being a car geek. I'm staying tonight in a place, what is it? It's an Ibis style, which I've stayed in before, and they're all right, really. It was £103 for the night. It's nice and clean. I'll give you a tour. In fact, from these little funky windows, you can see there's a little Panda, look at that, which has been absolutely faultless. I'd rather have done it in that Cayenne there, the Cayenne Coupe, or the new GLE, but in its defence. That's been pretty good. And I've done something like 75, 80 miles per gallon. This won't take long because there's not an awful lot to see, but it's a twin room, television. For some reason we've got a bowler hat there, which is actually a light. Very nifty. Little desk area. The whole hotel is kind of themed car related, or like Le Mans. So the carpet in the hallway is kind of like this, but with racing tracks around it. Little wardrobe there. We've got the bathroom, actually shower room, toilet, and old douche. I shall catch up with you in the morning. I've got a bed and breakfast basically, and the breakfast starts at 6. So I'm planning to get up nice and early, get some petit déjeuner, and then I'll be on my way again. And next stop, Spain. See you in the morning. Hey up, it's now day 2 and we're back on the road again. In fact, I've been on the road for about 5 hours already today. Had a decent night's sleep and a shower this morning, so I feel all fresh, even though I might not look it. I think I'm about, I know you can't see this actually, but I'm behind a brand new shaped Range Rover Sport, which I do quite like. I thought they looked a bit Peugeot 3008-ish at first, but they are growing on me. Yeah, there's no power to join the motorway in this car, but I've been doing 78 miles per gallon. I've only just figured out where the little trip computer is, so I will work it out properly when I get to my final destination. But according to the car's computer, well, currently doing 76.2. It's really impressive that, isn't it? Who needs an EV when you can get 76 miles per gallon from a 13-year-old Panda? Right, which one do I want now? I think I'm about an hour and 45 minutes away from the Spanish border. I've driven past Bordeaux and I'm heading towards Bayonne. This car doesn't like it when you rev it past 3,000 RPM. It sounds very, very tinny. But still, guys, no warning lights. I booked a hotel tonight in the northern Spanish city of Burgos, which I've never been to before, and the hotel looks really nice, looks lovely. Right on the river, near the cathedral. So I thought I should get there for about 4 PM, so it should still be daylight, hopefully, and I can go and have a bit of a wander around and explore. I'm also down to my last pack of salt and shake, so I don't know what I'm going to do when they run out. Last night, by the way, after I checked into the hotel in Le Mans, I was shattered, but I was still really awake. I guess running on adrenaline really from driving. So I thought I need something to knock me out, so I went downstairs to the hotel bar and had a few pints, which worked. But it was really strange. There were about a dozen or 15 or 16 or so people in the bar area, but nobody was chatting. It was a really weird atmosphere. I guess they were all French. I was trying to read the room and listen in, but it was a really odd atmosphere. It was almost like being in a morgue. I was trying to figure out what was going on. It just didn't make sense to me. Anyway, I sat there on my own with my drink and I was actually replying to comments and messages on Instagram and YouTube. As I was leaving, the bartender, who was really friendly by the way, said, "Monsieur Goodwin," I won't do the accent. He said, "Good night, thank you for your business, have a good night." But he said, "Oh, you've witnessed our very first date night event tonight." So I thought that makes perfect sense. That's why everyone was acting really weird and not really chatting with one another. Anyway, right, I shall catch up with you in Burgos. I'll give you a little hotel room tour. Well, I've just got to the hotel in Burgos and it's really nice actually. I'll give you a tour in a second. I'm glad I came in the Panda because I'd have never got anything sportier in the underground car park. I'll show you a clip of that tomorrow. So now I'm just going to unpack quickly and go and walk around the town. It's a bit of a ghost town at the moment, but I should have an hour left of daylight, so I'm going to go and have a look at the sights. Yeah, have a look at this hotel room. This is the NH Collection Hotel and it is the Palacio de Burgos. And it's much fancier than the other one. So we've got a bath, shower, toilet, bidet, little bidet, not seen one of those for a while. It is cold, it's about 3 degrees outside. And on the way down here it was snowing. I'm in one of the attic rooms, I think. Cool though, isn't it? And if you look here, you can see the Burgos Cathedral. How cool is that? So I'm going to dump my bags down and go and have an explore. I will catch up with you later. Cheers, guys. Hola, buenos dias. How's it going? Got my cold coffee, so I'm all set. And we are on day 3. We're on the home straight, really. I'm about 100 kilometers away from Madrid, north of Madrid. It's very frosty today. I can't see the temperature because this car isn't equipped with that sort of technology, but I think it's about 1 or 2 degrees. To make sure I stay on the right hand side of the road, don't I? I've just stopped for fuel because my fuel light came on, so I had about just less than a quarter of a tank, about 1/8 of a tank, and it took 31 euros to brim the tank. Not 31 euros, 31 litres to brim the tank. So cheap to run this car. I've been driving now for about an hour and a half, and I've got about 6 hours to go. I love being back in Spain. The people are really friendly and welcoming. I've been listening to the radio, listening to that new Shakira song where she compares her ex's new girlfriend to a Casio instead of a Rolex, something like that. Anyway, last night I was in Burgos, as you well know, and I would definitely recommend that you visit. I can't believe I haven't been there before. I love history, I really geek out at that sort of thing, so it was nice wandering around an old medieval city. There's a huge cathedral in the middle which dates back to 1221, and there's a castle on the top of the hill. I was also reading Burgos is where Francisco Franco, General Franco, first set up his fascist government, back in the 30s, I think. I had to dig my sunglasses out of the glove compartment this morning. That's the first time on this whole trip I've needed them. Yesterday when I was walking around Burgos, it was freezing and it started snowing. When I got there, it was like a complete ghost town. It was like the Mary Celeste. All the little bars and restaurants were all closed. This was maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock, but then by 7 o'clock they all opened and the place transformed. It was packed. People just outside with their family, with their dogs, drinking, smoking, enjoying themselves. I really love to see that sort of cafe culture, that sort of social aspect that we just don't really have in the UK. I just think it's much more civilised. Also, something that I thought was quite cool about Burgos, or at least in the old town part of Burgos, there were no big chains. There were no Starbucks or Costa, no McDonald's or Burger King. It was all independent little Spanish places. The whole place was very Spanish, not very touristy at all, which I liked. Makes a change. You go to any big city, Berlin, Madrid, Rome, they're all the same really. There's a McDonald's, an H&M, a Starbucks. But in Burgos, no way. My little Panda, which has been the subject of this whole video, hasn't put, well actually, I was going to say it hasn't put a foot wrong. This morning I noticed one little fault with it, which is developed overnight. The boot wouldn't unlock from the key. Normally you press the unlock on the button and all the doors unlock, but today for some reason the boot wouldn't unlock, so I had to put the key in manually. But that has been it. It's been absolutely faultless. It just keeps soldiering on, and I'm doing, what am I doing? 73 miles per gallon. It's incredible. From a 13-year-old 155,000 mile car that I paid £250 for, remember? On the very tight underground car park in the hotel, I was on the 2nd floor down. I managed to park next to another car from Manchester. In fact, not even from Manchester, it was from Stockport. A Lexus Stockport car. What are the chances? As I was driving down there, down the very steep inclines down into the car park, the car started to kind of, the revs were fluctuating, it was kind of hunting a little bit, but I'm guessing, I'm hoping, anyway, fingers crossed, that was just because, I don't know, I was on a bit of a steep incline perhaps, or decline, because it hasn't done it since, so I think that's all it was. Right then, boys and girls, I'm going to push on, and I'll catch up with you in a bit. See you then. Well, I'm here, I finally made it, but it wasn't exactly plain sailing. When I was about an hour away, I was coming through a place called Jaén, and it's just steep hills. So you drive for 10 minutes up a steep hill, then back down again, then up a hill, then up another hill, then back down again, and it takes its toll. I think, to be honest though, the problem was caused by my cockiness. I was driving along thinking, this has been quite a boring journey. I never expected this £250 Panda to get me all the way to Spain. And here we are, an hour out, and it's been nothing but reliable. As I was having all these thoughts, I was on quite a steep part of the motorway and I needed to overtake an Opel Astra, which was in the slow lane. So I pulled out into the middle lane to overtake it, put my foot down a little bit, and then suddenly there was a blip and the engine light came on. There was no noise or anything, but it just kind of stalled, well not stalled, but like I say, a bit of a blip, a bit of a moment's hesitation, and the engine light's been on ever since. I haven't got a code reader thing with me. It's difficult to tell whether this car's in limp mode or not because it's slow anyway. I don't think it is. For the final 3 or 4 hours, I was spanking it a little bit just because I was so close to home. I thought I was going to try and make up some time. Yeah, there is a fault with this. Won't rev past 3,000 RPM. To be fair, I haven't even checked the levels since I've set off. Maybe I should have done that. I think 2,500 kilometres of non-stop driving have taken its toll. Anyway, I made it. It got me here. So I think I'm going to go and get a shower, and maybe an early night. In fact, no, I'm going to go and get a shower and then go to Mr. Noodles for some food because I'm starving. So thank you once again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little voyage. I have done in a funny sort of way. It's been quite liberating doing it in something cheap and rubbish. Well, not rubbish. So thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. If you've got any comments or questions, let me know below and I'll do my best to get back to you. So yeah, cheers guys. See you next time. Well, believe it or not, my £250 Fiat Panda made it all the way down to Spain. And in case you're wondering where that car is right now, it's still there. It's still in my parents' driveway. It looks a little bit worse for wear now because the sun's eating into that red paint. But I keep toying with the idea of doing another road trip and bringing it back and then fixing it up. So I might do that this year. That could be quite good fun. I was there a couple of weeks ago and we had a power cut throughout the whole of Spain. In fact, the whole of the Iberian Peninsula was just cut off. So all of Spain, all of Portugal just had no power for the full day. So I decided the only way of charging my phone was through the Fiat Panda. So I went and got the key, started it, and it started on the button, and I sat there while my phone was charging. It's just such an impressive little car. Next up then, this road trip's a little bit closer to home, and also it's in a lot more luxury than the old Panda. With this one, I bought a very cheap S-Class Mercedes. Now, if you don't know what an S-Class Mercedes, well, of course you'll know what an S-Class Mercedes is if you're watching this channel, but the S-Class Mercedes is the flagship Mercedes. It's the luxury limo. And I bought one for just £1,500, and I wanted to see if I could get it all the way up to the very top of the UK. In case you're wondering, I did this trip with some mates and my brother, and we had a really good trip. And you know what's riskier than taking one old Mercedes all the way up to John O'Groats? Taking two. We took a 2003 S-Class diesel and a 2009 S-Class diesel. Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, behind me is my 2003 Mercedes S-Class. You remember from the video that I did threaten that I was going to do a road trip, and today, the day has come. It's kind of a fuel challenge this really, or a range test. I'm planning to drive to the most northern part of Great Britain, John O'Groats. It's 500 miles from here. I want to try and see if I can do it from a single tank of fuel. It's a 3.2 litre diesel, so it should be capable. But one thing that is quite concerning, since I last filmed with it, it occasionally goes into sort of like a limp home mode. You get a flashing glow plug light and it loses all power. I took it to a Mercedes specialist that I use, SPR in Stockport, and one of the previous owners, I don't know which one exactly, has sort of wiped the ECU so they can't even scan it. So there's no engine light, there are no faults, just this flashing glow plug light. So they recommended that I replaced all the glow plugs with genuine ones. Somebody's replaced them with aftermarket ones. So I put a brand new set of genuine Mercedes glow plugs on, and still, the fault still remains. Sometimes it's okay, and other times it kind of splutters and misses, so I really don't know whether this will get me there. It might seem like a bit of a risky move, this, but what's the worst that can happen? Let me show you what I've got planned. So we're starting off here, just on the outskirts of Manchester. We're heading up on the motorway, the M6, past Carlisle, Lake District, all the way to Glasgow, and then head to the Highlands. I haven't actually been this far north before. I've been to Inverness to drop off a car many years ago, but I haven't been any further than that. And this is a considerable distance further than that. The plan tonight is to stay in a place called Wick. I booked an Airbnb in Wick, so I'm going to drive there, and then tomorrow morning, hopefully, all being well, continue to John O'Groats. Fortunately, I'm not doing this on my own. We've got a backup Mercedes S-Class, that 2009 S320 diesel, and I've got my brother, Steve, and John, so I've got plenty of company. It's currently 7:30 AM and we've got 500 miles to do. I could make some sort of reference to the Proclaimers there, but I shan't.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. And if I haver, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who's havering to you. But I will walk 500
Scotland. We just stopped off at the services for some local Scottish cuisine. I think it was called a Burger King. In case you were wondering, it had a double bacon cheese and they didn't deep fat fry it, so we're off to a good start. It does have quite a bad diesel injector knock, this. Listen to this. It's not great, that, is it? But on the bright side, it hasn't really missed a beat. In fact, it's been quite good. I was fully expecting this to break down. After the couple of little issues I've had with its flashing glow plug light and its slight misfire, I really didn't expect to be in Scotland. Get your arm at the shot.
Is it in?
Probably. It's like I'm travelling with the thing off Adam's family. Full hand. Since we set off this morning, I've done 190 miles and I've only used a quarter of a tank of fuel. This should do, what's that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 800 miles to a tank. Should. It should do that. You know what's been most impressive about this? I've just sat at the speed limit with my cruise control on and it's doing less than 2,000 revs. According to the car's onboard computer, I've got 635 miles left in the tank and I've got about 295 miles until I get to Wick. I'm not sure whether I believe this trip computer or not, but since I started, I've done 65.7 miles per gallon from a 20-year-old diesel Mercedes. I know I've said this kind of thing before, but it's just made me realise you couldn't do this kind of trip in an EV. The same thing was true of my old XC70 Volvo that I took to Switzerland. That did, I don't know, 56 miles per gallon, and it done 300,000 miles. What else can I say, John?
Talk about how you hit all the minstrels.
The scenery's definitely changed for the better. Driving up through the Lake District, it's really, really picturesque. Before I set off, I filled the tank and it took 120 odd pounds, and I did use premium V-power diesel. I just thought with that little injector knock that it's got, it needs all the help it can get. I'm currently on the M74, coming up to a place called Hamilton. There used to be an old palace in Hamilton, you know, that got knocked down. Called Hamilton Palace.
Really?
Yeah. Apart from that, then, there's nothing else to report. Everything is all going A-OK. I have to keep reminding myself that I'm in a 20-year-old car. It just drives like any other modern car, really. The ride's impressive, it's nice and comfortable, and these seats are supremely comfortable. It's just a really nice thing to be in.
My thoughts make me tired, just running through my mind. Wonder if there's peace I can know. Run away, run away, run away to your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away to your escape. Run away, run away, run away. You're never too far to run. Run away, run away, run away to your escape.
Quick update for you then. I'm in a place called Tain, which is just north of Inverness. I just thought I'd stop here in this little car park and have a look at the view. I'm about an hour and a half away from Wick, and to be honest, I'm quite bored of driving now. But it's done me really proud. I was just about to say I haven't seen a single engine light, but then there wouldn't be because they've all been wiped. But really, it hasn't put a foot wrong. I've still got just over half a tank of fuel and a range of about 480 miles. I very much doubt this will get me there and back on a single tank, but it'll be closer than you'd think. I've kind of figured out how to drive it now. When you're building up speed, you've got to be quite gentle with it because all you can hear is that injector knock. But when you're up to 50 or 60 miles an hour, it's quite smooth and quite quiet. The seats are comfortable, you've got double glazed windows, the air conditioning works. It's been quite a pleasant experience, really. The plan tonight then is to check into the Airbnb and see what's kicking in the town of Wick. See what the vibe is. I'm not saying that. I'm hoping to find a nice little pub where I can have a couple of pints and maybe a nice Indian restaurant. That's what I fancy. So I think that's about it. I'll catch up with you later on when I'm in Wick.
Ta-ra.
See ya. Well, welcome to Wick. We just got here. The two cars made it here perfectly fine. I just realised I look like a bit of a low-budget dictator, don't I, turning up in two S-Class Mercedes. I should have got some flags for the bonnet, shouldn't I, really? I've got the keys for the Airbnb, so I think the plan is to go and unpack, go and get a few beers, something to eat, and then tomorrow we've got about 20 miles to get to John O'Groats. The final drive, though, to Wick was just unbelievable. Some of the roads were just out of this world. It'd be nice to come back and do it one day in something a bit sportier than the old S. And the weather's been perfect. When I checked the weather yesterday, the forecast was 16 degrees and drizzly, but it's been bright blue skies and sunshine, so we couldn't have picked a better day, really. It's just coming up to 7:30, so we've been on the road now for about 12 hours, so I've had enough. So I'll go and rest tonight, and then see you in the morning.
Right, so today, me and Steve went to Home Bargains to get some screen wash. While we're in there, we saw this, and as you know, Matt hates aftermarket. So, can you see that? Interior LED lights, plug in with a remote that we're going to keep. So we're going to fit him to the S-Class Easing. Matt's upstairs having a drink. He's not going to impress it. We're going to keep the remote tomorrow. This was a good like £8 well spent, this, wasn't it?
I don't think it was even that, to be honest.
Ah, no. Where should we put them?
There we go.
Yeah, you press that.
Oh. Oh, okay. That's
Right,
me.
so we'll leave that on.
Even if that's on there, that'll do.
Yeah, right. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. I think he will. Let me get rid of all.
Alright guys, well it's a nice day in Wick today, sun's out. We're about 25 minutes away from John O'Groats. Had a nice night's sleep last night, although I was rudely awoken by some very inconsiderate seagulls, but I did sleep quite well. So yeah, about 25 minutes away from John O'Groats, so we're going to go and get a coffee now and head up there.
Getting hard to sleep, blood is in my dreams, love is killing me, trying to figure it out. I let it go, 'cause I won't see you later on when I like to figure it out.
Well, we made it to John O'Groats. There was one point where I didn't think we were going to actually. I stopped at a local co-op for a drink, and then as I got back to the car, it's been kind of misfiring and spluttering this morning. And as I got back to the car, turned up the engine, I had an ESP fault, and it wouldn't let me get it out of park. So I thought we were going to be stranded in the most northerly part of the UK. Fortunately, I did what anybody would do. I turned it off and back on again, and it was fine. And touch wood, it's been all right since. I know it's a 20-year-old car now, but I have had to be quite gentle with it. The injectors are knocking, and you occasionally get that glow plug light flashing, but it got me here. And most importantly, I've still got a range of 311 miles. It's really impressive that, isn't it, don't you think, for a 20-year-old diesel car? The drive down here this morning from Wick was unbelievable. Some of the roads are just wicked. I've got to do this again. I really want to do the North Coast 500, but in something a bit sportier. I'll have to put some thought into this and try and plan a good trip, because I definitely will be back. The quickest way home now then really is back the way we came, but I would like to change it. So I think what I'm going to do now is go to the coffee shop behind me, get a nice coffee, and have a look at my map and try and find a nice scenic route home. I shall keep you posted though, with the old S. I think it'll make it. It's got me this far, hasn't it?
Here we go again, you think by now I know better. Locked in my head, romanticizing forever.
Well, my fuel light's just pinged on. I've got about an eighth of a tank. They tell me I've got 135 miles of range left, which means let me work out how many miles we've done. I filled the tank yesterday morning in Romley and reset my trip, and I've done 681 miles. So I've driven from Romley, from Highpeak Auto's HQ, all the way to John O'Groats and back down. And I'm now somewhere near in the Cairngorms, near a place called Dalwhinnie. It's quite impressive, isn't it, this? Saying that, I think I know why it's so economical. With my injectors knocking, probably only half of them are working. It means this car is probably capable of the best part of 800 miles. My plan now, I'll get maybe another 50 miles out of the way, and then I'll stop for some fuel and work out my exact MPG. It should be high though. I'm expecting it to be late 50s, early 60s.
Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine?
we just stopped for some fuel, and since I left Romley, we've done 713 miles, and it took 75 litres of diesel. If you work that out, 713 miles divided by 75 litres times 4. We've done 43 miles per gallon. Which is weird because the computer says that I've been doing 62. So there's quite a disparity there, isn't there? Anyway, 43 miles per gallon, which I suppose isn't too bad, is it, for a 20-year-old Mercedes? We've got about 4 hours now until I get back to the office, and I've had enough, really. Yes, it's got massage seats, but I'm just bored of being sat behind the wheel. One quick interesting note, actually, just as a matter of comparison, we also filled up the 2009 Mercedes S-Class, which has been used as a shadow car, basically. And that obviously has done the exact same miles, but that only took 71 litres of fuel, not 75. So it is slightly more fuel efficient. Apart from my onboard computer then blatantly lying to me, it has been totally reliable. And when we left yesterday, I really didn't think it would be. I thought it was going to let me down, but it hasn't. Anyway, back on the road. I'll catch up with you later.
Oh, he's got the lights on.
Migraine now.
Like them.
Like Tim Westwood tomorrow day.
Hey, you've officially been beat.
Well guys, we're back. We have done 1,029 miles. I can't believe this has got me here all in one piece. I've now got a bit of a migraine from those flashing lights, but we're here. We made it. After my last calculations, I really don't trust this onboard computer anymore, but I do trust the fuel gauge, and it's currently just above half. So we've used, well, about a tank and a half's worth of diesel. It's not bad, is it, really? It's been a really long day, so I'm going to park this one up now and jump in the 09 S-Class. Having watched all those trips back, I'm now itching for another road trip. I've got some planned, actually, which are a bit more adventurous than the ones you've just seen, so stay tuned. But if you've got any suggestions, then let me know in the comments below. So thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you to Car Vertical for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to use my promo code Highpeak for 20% off. And yeah, cheers guys, and good luck with your road trip.